This conference will now be recorded.
All right, as always, everything we're going to be talking about is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So I kind of feel spoiled these past two mornings that we've had. I mean, the volume just been absolutely phenomenal. And it's one of the benefits as we come into earnings seasons, is you have stocks that when they have earnings, they get hot. People end up trading them afterwards. So it's one of the benefits. The problem is after earnings seasons, we kind of go back into that dull, that lull with the way that trading is. But I'm so busy at work with this rain in LA, can't watch anything. Yeah, unfortunately, one thing that you got to remember, market's not going anywhere. So you know what, sometimes we get busy and stuff, but there'll be beautiful, there'll be great days, coming up as well. But overall, let's talk about Facebook. So Facebook, there is just a whole lot of buying in this thing. We just saw some short-term selling, and I want you to just take a look at something. We talked about this yesterday in Traders Exchange, but based off of buyers and sellers having and fighting, eventually one of them is going to win out. And if you look right here, you can see this is major resistance point from when the market first opened. We popped up before we got that beautiful short back towards that downside. But you could see major support level after it ended up popping back up above it. And you can see it keeps testing and testing and testing. And right here is a perfect example of when you see the buyers fail and the sellers win out, because you can see just beautiful volume that came back in. Nice trigger towards that downside. Got a few prints that came in at 168 on that bid side. Facebook way slower, obviously, right now, based off the volume. So it's going to be a lot easier to be able to trade this, as long as we're not just floating around, and we do get consistent trading volume that's coming back into it. But as of right this second, the shortest term prints that I've seen in this so far are those bid prints at 168. So I'm going to be looking for a very short term, move towards that downside. And on the upside, there's just a ton of buying up here. So keep that in mind. But short term versus long term. Long term, certainly there's buying that shows that this thing could get to 175 fairly easily. Short term shows that we should get a real nice, continue a real nice short towards that downside. All right, so funny, because one of the trades that I really didn't look at, and probably the best trade that we had all day, and when I say best trade, I mean the trade that followed the rules and really made the easiest trade, was GE. So GE, that's one of those things where I don't really focus on it because it's got such a small range. So we knew we had that beautiful buying that came in at 10 this morning. We knew the stock was going to pull back, and then we were going to get a move towards the upside. Okay, it usually trades about 44 cents, so you would think about a 50-cent trade somewhere in that realm. Okay, volume was so good that we knew it had to be over 44 cents today statistically. But this thing just, monster move. $1 for GE to move is absolutely phenomenal. And you can see pullback, we got a trigger back up, sat in consolidation for a little bit, and then boom, just took off. All right, so we did have some decent buying up here at around, that 1075 level right in there. And right now it's holding fairly well. So still definitely has more room. It's just a dead trade. There's just nothing there that I have any faith is going to do anything in the afternoon time. So beautiful overall trade, but as of right this second, just nothing we're going to be able to do with it. And then we had X. So X this morning, I was a little shocked to see it, and to be honest with you, to see it come back up. But it told us as we came back down to that 20 level. Remember, 20 is a very big psychological level. So coming into that 20, we got some really nice selling, but immediately after that selling, we saw the buyers come in. And when we see something like that, what that tells us is basically riders. So overall, we're expecting X to come underneath that 20 at some point, but those buyers that came in told us that the stock was going to be going up. And one of the things, if you've been watching X, as it's been going up, we just continue to see new buying. So the more that we continue to see new buying, the more that it's going to tell us that the stock is going to be continuing back. Now, this is another one. Do I really expect much of it in this afternoon? Not really. Maybe another 50. Maybe there definitely will be a 50-cent trade somewhere in there. It's just a very slow-moving stock right now. You can see volume's only at 30,000 shares a minute. Time and sales, if you look at it, it's just very start and stop. So just make sure that you really get a solid trigger if you are going to look to take a trade in this. And as of right now, it looks like it's just kind of floating around. No real great prints that I can see just off the top of my head, even especially at that 250 level where you would expect to see those prints come in. Really not seeing much there at all. Now, one thing I am looking at this afternoon is APHA. All right, now it's one of those stocks that right this second, based off the volume, it's garbage. Okay, 17,000 shares per minute on such a cheap stock, that's just not enough. It's not enough by any means. Okay, but it is holding on no volume, and that was one of the biggest variables I look for these cheaper stocks. What that tells us is that it has the opportunity for volume to come in out of nowhere and give us a beautiful move up and break, not only get to that double top, which is double top is going to make it start gravitating towards it, but be able to break past that double top. You can see, pushing towards 893, and we got to trigger back down. So it shows the trade, but we definitely got buying on its way up towards that 9 level. So there's buying up here. It's just a matter of the volume coming in. And like I said, that volume more than likely is going to come out of nowhere. So keep a very close eye on it. Know where you'd like to get into it and have that order ready. All right. And then, a highest probability trade is going to be if we can get some buying coming into that 9 and pull back a little bit and then continue back up. All right, remember 10 is a very big psychological level as well. So really on a push, if we really get that volume to start coming back in, a push to 10 is not out of the question whatsoever. And that's pretty much what I got. Now, NVDA, this is, I know I missed it, and now I'm going to go over AMD. Nitesh had put these out here. Beautiful buying at 145. This thing has needed to pull back big time. This morning at 137, we actually had selling there. All right, so it's needed to pull back underneath that 145 off of those ask prints, made a very high percentage short. So take a look at what happens at 144. If we kind of continue to see really not much happen, we're going to continue to see this thing fall down. And then AMD underneath 25. You basically just look at the chat. He's already explained it, just pointing it out for everybody. All right, and other than that, all right, Baba's an interesting one. So Baba this morning, we saw it pop back up, but we still have those sell prints at 165 that just do not make me comfortable thinking that it's ready to be released yet. So coming over and looking at it, made it all the way down to 166, but it hit that thing hard. And remember, 166 has a ton of buying in it. So it's not shocking at all that it used it as a major support level. But just keep that in mind if you're looking for like a longer term play in this. Just keep in mind that if we start seeing that volume coming back in and it starts moving back down, there's no reason based off those prints that we have at 165 that it doesn't go underneath first. But overall, okay, the move is up. Okay, there's more buying in Baba than anything else that we're seeing. All right. And other than that, that's pretty much it. I don't really see too much else out there that I care much about. It's funny because SQ, this thing, this morning, it just did not care. It ask prints coming in, absolutely beautiful, and just continued to push. So the fact that it's pulling back right now, it looks like it would have been a pretty nice trade at some certain points within it, even though the volume's a little bit low. And you can see overall 18,000 shares. That's very odd for a stock like SQ. So most of the volume was taken up this morning, it looks like, on pretty much almost everything. Am I right to think that these everyday stocks are puttering out without new buying? From what I've seen, I mean, there's buying in them, but like for instance, SQ, when SQ got up towards that 74 level, and especially the first time it came to 73.50, if you're looking to build a position, okay, you don't wait for the second time that a stock hits it. If you're building a position in something like SQ, the first time that it came up to that 73.50, we should have seen a bunch of buying coming in if they were expecting it to come back up. And the fact that we didn't, that certainly is a good sign. Now, it had some buying that was underneath the 73.50, okay, which tells us that they're looking, to go around 74. But in that case, you're absolutely right, and that's what you want to look for, especially to know when a stock is pretty much getting to its point where it doesn't really have much more room to move. In SQ, yeah. Oh, sorry, I was walking around. Yeah, in SQ, exactly, 100%. You are right on the money. All right. All right, guys. So I will talk to everyone in the chat room. Hopefully we'll be able to get some continued volume. It looks like Facebook is just making a beautiful trade, just like it showed us that it was going to, based off everything that we just saw in those shorter term prints. Absolutely phenomenal. And other than that, we just, a lot of volume came in this morning. So if we see things just pretty much dead the afternoon, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever. All right, just keep that in mind. All right, guys. I'll see everyone in the chat, and happy trading.